The story starts in Austria. A woman who's a nun gets told to be a caretaker for 7 children. 7 children who belong to a retired military captain. And eventually it became a very iconic tale in that country that eventually got adapted by the gods of the American musical, Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein, into a Broadway play called The Sound of Music, which eventually got adapted into an Hollywood film, which is the one we're doing today, ladies and gentlemen. So, is everybody ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
So, where specifically the audience needs to start?
Before the Fox logo.
Alright then.
It's that simple. As far as I can tell, Disney didn't alter anything to them in the movie. So.
Alright, let's go.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, click.
So,
Joe, why don't you tell us about your experience with the Sound of Music franchise?
So, believe it or not, I have not seen the movie. I have definitely heard songs from the musical, but I have not gotten to see the play directly. Now, you're probably wondering, what do I mean by directly? Well, I actually have seen the Sound of Music play via a movie. A movie that Dweebs is probably... Nope! A movie that Dweebs is probably familiar with. Vin Diesel's The Pacifier.
Wait, seriously?
Seriously?
Basically, The Pacifier was Vin Diesel's go at doing a kid-friendly film, you know.
So is like one song included? Are the kids
No.
watching this movie on television or something?
No. Believe it or not, the school doing a stage play of Sound and Music is actually a plot point in that movie.
God.
So
Yes.
yeah, that's my best experience with it, aside from hearing songs, is, well, watching it via Vin Diesel's attempt to basically do what Arnold Schwarzenegger did with Kindergarten Cop.
Those of you in the audience who might have seen our Mary Poppins commentary will remember that I introduced that commentary by explaining how my mother introduced me to that movie as a little kid, and that's when I became a big fan of Julie Andrews. She also was the one that introduced me to this film, you know? And it's yet another reason why I'm such a big fan of Julie Andrews, who plays the main character in this.
Wait.
You know, Joe,
Wait,
change
hold
the
on.
music and this intro sequence is the same as The Shining.
Yeah, I was about to say also. Wait, hold on. So wait, guys.
Also, visit Austria.
Wait, hold on. So Julie Andrews is playing a kindly old woman who's coming to take care of...
not a kindly old woman.
She's not really old.
She's a caretaker, but she's young. She's like in her
Okay.
20s.
Let me rephrase. A kindly-natured woman who is, of course, supposed to be the caretaker for a bunch of kids who need the proper influence in their lives.
Also, Joe, if the first song is anything to go by, well, not the second, sorry. Song is anything to go by, Julie Andrews' character is anything but kind. At least for the moment.
Oh, snap! So the Mary Poppins,
Well, it's not so much that she's not kind to her. It's more so the fact that, much like a typical Hollywood musical female protagonist, she yearns for more in life.
So it's basically Mary Poppins if she yearned for more in life, aside from just, well, literally showing up in families' lives and magically fixing them.
And without the Mary Sue powers, Jova.
And here's the main theme.
Of course.
Hills are alive.
Yeah, you don't even need to see the
With the sound of the pucks I gave.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think this would be the very first scene of the movie.
Of course, Dribs. Hi, Julie Andrews. I look forward to you playing an awesome kaiju.
Never leave that down, Jova.
Tia. Remember, she chose being a kaiju in Aquaman over a cameo in Mary Poppins Returns. I think that says a lot.
Actually, Joe, we now have a reason why she turned down the possibility of cameoing in that movie, but I'll mention it when we do the commentary for Mary Poppins Return.
Sure. I will say also this, for a technical standpoint, props to whoever had to remaster, quote-unquote, the audio for the Blu-ray and digital releases, because it's actually very noticeable in how clean it is.
Mm-hmm.
Usually with these kind of old movies, I always dread the fact that even in modern age, it will still sound a bit garbled because of equipment used at the time.
Maybe they had sound restoration.
not that's the thing too. In the DVDs and Blu-rays, they have an option. They have an audio option for just listening to the music without the voices. So the original
Wow.
score, they still have the recordings of the original score recording without the voices.
Cool.
So my guess is this is one of those movies where the original art masters survived impeccably. It seems.
I do
Again,
wonder
you
if
consider
they...
the success of a movie, Fox did hold very tight whatever they done to even the making of this movie.
Yes, please don't stop singing.
I do wonder if they upscaled the music for this re-release too, because the music sounds very crisp and you know,
well, a lot of movie studios these days do seem to be taking better care of their older movies.
Hold on. This one. Maria, you forgot.
Oh snap!
Continues.
Oh snap! I was too busy singing. I completely
Guess
forgot.
what? Our protagonist is late.
Well, gee, maybe
Why
if
were
you
you
didn't.
wasting time singing
Ladies and
that?
gentlemen, welcome to
Robert
Wise
Wise.
production of Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein's greatest masterpiece.
I'll just say this.
It's
Robert...
funny, but I have a bit of a trivia about these two,
The
but for
Sound
later.
of Music.
Which is a much better title than the one my country got, but I want to save that for the final thoughts because that shit's
Christopher
priceless.
Plummer's in
Actually,
this.
in my country, this franchise is called Music in Your Heart.
Which is still actually very, commendable as a title. Like I said, my country had a kind of a bad reputation of sometimes translating titles of movies in completely fucked up ways, and this is one of them.
Yeah, and as announced by Joe was humming, this is the first thing becomes immediately apparent with this movie. This movie has the greatest soundtrack ever put on anything.
Really?
The songs, the score, everything sounds incredible. And yes, Richard Rogers came back because unfortunately Oscar Hammerstein had died by the point they made the movie. But Richard Rogers came back to not only because they were using the score from the musical, but whatever new songs they made for this movie, they were written by Richard Rogers himself.
I must say, I actually, even though I've never seen the musical or the movie or the play, I do recognize a lot of these songs right off the bat.
This movie was directed by Robert Wise, and was written by, I think, Erwin Kostel was the one that conducted the score for this movie. I forgot the name of the writer. Dwebs, could you get me the name of the writer, please?
I'll get it up. However, now in terms of films from the director we've previously done on this channel, it was Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but we tend not to talk about that too much.
Joel will seek anyway, so...
Yet I still remember that movie being not pleasant.
Yeah...
It was written by a man named Ernest Lehrman.
There you go. From the stage musical with music and lyrics by Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein II. The guys who won a total of 37 awards for their musicals or something along those lines. I don't know if they're the ones that are the most. I don't know if they're the ones with the most awards ever, but they're definitely up there.
I will say this also: the director Robert Wise is definitely quite a name to be beholden.
So yeah, our story takes place in Salzburg, Austria.
That's golden days of the 30s.
So yeah, Maria is actually a nun in this abbey, and instead of and apparently she got laid because she got too infused with singing.
Let me guess, she's a nun who doesn't really care for the nun lifestyle.
Yeah, I actually forgot.
She does care. It's just that at the same time, you can tell she was born for more than this.
Disney
I actually forgot, Pedro. Is she already technically a nun, or is still in training?
No, she's still. She hasn't done her vows yet.
Oh, okay,
So
then.
is this
Yeah, no,
movie-
I didn't know if I was remembering right or wrong.
So is this movie realistic with people singing randomly in public? Like if they sing so much that they're late for their jobs or something.
Well, it's called The Sound of Music. What did you expect?
Now, I will admit, there are always going to be some scenarios where singing makes sense, like hear them singing a hymnal.
Not to mention that the 1960s was regarded as the golden age of musicals. A lot of musicals came out during this period. It was the hot genre at the time.
This movie is one of those that, is a lot more renowned now than it was back then. Back when it came out, to be fair, it
Well,
scored
when it
great.
came out, it was lauded and it won 5 Academy Awards. It was a gigantic hit all over the world. It actually was beloved even back then.
Although critical response to the movie was a bit mixed back in the day, not to worry though, the film was a major commercial success. On a budget of $8.2 million. It made $286.2 million. So,
I'm guessing back in the 1960s, that was a hell of a lot of money.
Yes, yes, it was.
Julie Andrews had a fantastic 2 years. Like the year before this, she won Best Actress for Mary Poppins, and now she won again. So she won the Oscar for Best Actress 2 years in a row.
And she's still kicking now.
And now the same studio owns both movies.
Huh.
So yeah, let's see what they think of Maria.
Maria von Trapp.
Not yet, Joe, but she's not
Yeah,
a Von
not
Trapp.
yet.
She's not a Von Trapp yet.
That's just usually what I hear people refer to her as, so, I don't...
Well, Joe, if you know the story, she marries the captain, but she hasn't done that yet.
Dude, spoilers.
Everybody knows this story.
Besides, it kind of happens, I think, around the halfway point anyway, so...
Although, wait, she's a nun.
It's like me. Hey, spoilers. Luke Skywalker
Also,
is Darth Vader's son.
Also, Jova, it's good that you mentioned, that you noticed that, but don't worry. Basically, the story will kind of make a point about that.
Is it? She's not bad. She's just a free spirit.
Yeah, that's basically the general consensus of the she's too much of a rebel.
Hold on. So she's a free spirit. She wants more in life. She sings Disney princess.
Yeah, she's a Disney princess, Jova.
And it's pretty much now official because.
And hey, if we can get into a Kingdom Hearts game, we can also tie back to their Furious Space and have Donald is a Nazi. Everything is connected.
Beautiful.
That's the thing, sure. For as much as people like to associate that attitude with the Disney princesses, a lot of musical protagonists in the '60s that are not Disney had that same kind of trope. Like that trope is not exclusive to Disney. It's just Disney that made it most popular.
Oh. Well, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously not exclusive to Disney, but it's pretty much the Disney princess meme. And especially if somebody gets, owned by Disney. Like, as soon as you're owned by Disney, yeah, you're pretty much a Disney princess. Like, good old Anastasia.
How do we break her spirit?
So, yeah, how do you solve a problem? How do you solve a problem like Maria? Fire her. There, done.
Well, that's the thing.
That is not how it works.
Well, that's the thing. The mother is trying to find the correct way to do about it because they like her still. It's just they're just trying to see if they can decide something because she's not mean intentioned or anything. She's just
Why can't she be more like us?
Don't worry, Joe. But the nuns actually handle this particular problem very well when the proper solution does show up. So. I actually really like this scene that between her and the mother later.
So does that actually that would kind of make you the one with the problem then if you get so easily distracted. It's not her problem.
But yeah, as you can see, Joe, it's not even as black and white between the nuns. The opinions are literally split.
They're very split on this issue.
That's why they're confused on how the hell to solve this problem.
Just give her the job she can't screw up or something.
Well, actually, that's exactly what they think. That's exactly what they're going to do. Actually, Dwebs. Just hold on a bit.
I think this is a Yeah, well, for years I've always thought this is an Andrew Lloyd Webber song.
No, it's Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein, aka the gods of the American musical.
Whoa. This is
They
awkward.
they wrote The King and I,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Maria, were you out singing on the hills again?
I can hear you singing, you know.
No, they are singing a little quieter this time. Maybe she didn't.
You're grounded.
You're not allowed to
Alright.
leave the cat. You're not allowed to
I'm
leave
too
the chat.
old to be.
There will be no more singing upon the hills, young lady.
All right, but the mother actually has an idea.
An awful idea. A wonderful, awful idea.
I don't know, Theo. The story ends in a happy ending. So,
So did the Grinch.
I mean, specifically the family part of the story, specifically.
Yeah,
So-
sure. We'll get there anyway.
And the hills were alive with music. I've heard it before.
Everyone in the whole town could hear you sing so loud.
But
Seriously,
there's nothing else to do up there.
I swear, my child, you sing almost as much as that princess in that other German kingdom. What was her name? I think it was Ilsa or Lisa something, singing about letting it go or going into the
Oh.
unknown.
I think Carandel is more in the north, Jova.
No. Arendelle is actually
I
a
think-
German kingdom, Tio.
I think
Oh.
I think Belle is the more direct comparison you can make with the Disney princesses, personally, Joe.
Belle's French.
Well, okay, I was talking
Also-
more in terms of personality and
And besides,
whatever.
besides, all of you are singing, and yet it's okay for you to do it, but not me.
Also, Pedro, to be fair, Belle's already a Disney princess, so making a comparison there is kind of redundant.
Anastasia, then, Jova. That's Russian and technically was not conceived as Disney.
And now she is. I wonder.
Here's the backstory.
Hold
Here's the
on,
story of
yeah.
how she became how she came here to begin with.
What, were you an orphan or something?
Kind of, yeah.
Ah, there we go. There's another check mark for the Disney princess list.
Well, she's not a princess even after she marries. so-
Well, to be fair, Pedro, neither is Alice, yet she's considered a Disney princess.
I guess.
Besides, actual princesses like Kida sometimes don't get even counted, so...
So now that they're owned by the same company, basically what happened was Mary Poppins lost her job, and so she had to get a new identity and go all the way out to Austria.
Yeah,
Yes.
I could buy it. Ave Maria?
How did she lose her job though?
Let's just say
I don't know,
one of her...
Dwebs, it's your headcanon. You figure
Seriously.
it out.
Well,
Yeah.
I got it. Guys, I got it.
But,
I got it. I got it. She was flying through the sky like she normally does, but she lost her umbrella, and though she survived, the umbrella fell through someone's window and smashed it open.
Consider
was
the umbrella
fired.
tends to be like alive, you just described a murder, Dweebs.
No one died. It's just
But
they lost
whatever,
someone's window got shattered.
That's one of the most
Huh.
iconic ones in the movie. 7? What, did you knock children? Well, yes, but 7.
But 7?
Wait a minute. Guy whose wife died at some point. Oh, that is actually the plot for Mary Poppins
Yes,
Returns. So Mary Poppins Returns was ripping off Sound of Music.
I thought you were going to say instead...
Actually, the mother's still alive in Mary Poppins, actually.
I'm pretty sure
I thought
she's
you were going
actually
to
dead
make,
in that.
I forgot you were
No.
going to make an Arnold Schwarzenegger instead,
I
Jova.
can speak for the original book, Joe, but in the Disney movie, she's there. She's a female, she's a feminist activist.
I think he's talking about Returns, well.
Oh, in Returns.
Yeah,
Oh, no, in Returns
yeah.
she is. Okay, never mind.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. I was talking about
usually-
Returns.
Never mind me. I actually tend to forget that that movie exists.
Huh.
Did you not hear a single word we said? We told you to keep
All
your
right,
thinking to a
so
minimum.
little piece of trivia because I actually did see this. I actually did see the Broadway play, the Portuguese adaptation of it. So I can tell you this: this song was actually made for the movie. It was written by Richard Rogers, because in the original play, this song is not in it. Instead, what they do is they have the "My Favorite Things" song play earlier. Basically, originally in the play, because she's kind of scared of this whole new experience that she's about to go through, she thinks about her favorite things, because it makes her feel better. But for this adaptation, Richard thought it would be because they wanted to have Maria go for the entirety of the town. They needed something a bit longer, something different. So they decided to repurpose My Favorite Things for a later time.
That works.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's just because I've got the audio a bit turned down, but is there actually music in the background while she's singing?
Yeah,
Yes,
there
It's
is.
much.
it's-
You have to understand,
it's-
Reeves. Musicals done around this time tended to have potential musical sequences, but actually had more quiet instruments in the background that would be instead accompany, the words rather than trying to surpass them.
Yeah.
You still have the bombastic moment, but sometimes we need to properly start.
They touch that water, there was spin in it.
Yeah, and considering the time date we're in.
But yeah, this song is called "I Have Confidence." It's all about how Maria is just trying to convince herself that everything is going to go all right.
Yeah, she has to rename the song now to "I Have Illness" because she just dumped her hands in dirty water.
Actually,
Reeves,
dude,
a lot of people survive for millennia, even by handling water that was technically not sanitized.
Actually, James, you talk about this being, something that takes place after Mary Poppins, but if we were to connect the two, maybe this actually is Mary Poppins'
origin
origin.
story.
Like, it shows Mary Poppins definitely a lot less, less learned than she is in Mary Poppins here and there.
So basically, this is how she earned the right to be. So basically, Joe, Mary Poppins is like a code name.
Yes.
Damn it.
Again, Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein were absolute geniuses. All of their songs are completely infectiously catchy the moment you hear them.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, she kind of needs to
Flan
do
should give you a
that.
hint in a moment.
Yes, there you go. So was this actually filmed in Austria?
Yes.
Because normally with these kinds of films, they just go to like, I don't know, Kent or somewhere and claim
At the
it's
time that
Austria.
this movie was made, Wibbs, this was the hottest musical in Broadway. This was the musical at the time. So this got star treatment from Fox. Like, no expenses were spared.
I'm actually surprised Disney haven't wanted to make a remake of this film.
Give it time.
No, thank you.
Is there any reason why you do not have a German accent while I do?
So do you mean Austrian accent?
Yeah, it's a bit different.
Well, that depends. Okay.
It actually is. It's
I mean,
more
the
for
language of Austria
for
for the
later.
most part is. I mean, the language in Austria for the most part is German.
Okay.
One of my friends actually had to study German and can told you from what he actually said at this school that Austrian works on a completely different level, while similar.
Well, one thing to recall is like, well, during World War II, if I recall correctly, there was, a lot of interaction.
That's a plot point for later, actually, Jova.
But yeah, all things considered, yeah, I guess you could joke about how she surprisingly has a relatively American accent compared to that guy.
At this point in time, Jova, Julie Andrews had been in America for a while, playing on performing various roles on Broadway. So, Mary Poppins was her first ever Hollywood film.
Wow, what a start. I wonder if she'll return in Aquaman 2.
Who knows, Jova? Yeah.
And here's the captain, played by Christopher Plummer.
Yes.
The Lord of the Owls.
Another acting legend, and he's still alive.
I know, he's still acting to this day. Like, his latest films were in 2019, one of them being Knives Out.
Is he British?
No, he's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
Julie is the one that's British.
The mentality seems to be more British, the idea of acting until the day you actually physically can't.
I really love this scene in particular. It's already looking at, there's some great contrast between the two.
Look at that. They're clearly at odds with each other, so of course they're gonna fall in love.
Mm-hmm. She's very crafty.
Oh my god.
So yeah, she actually her task is not exactly easy.
This really is like Mary Poppins.
The irony is
like-
wasted.
Is this like Danny McPhee, where the children are so shitty that the most toughest one they get runs away in terror?
Pretty much, I think so.
Mind you, this predated Nanny McPhee by like 40 years. So.
Obviously. So yeah, having a military man for a father, these poor children kind of get a very harsh treatment.
Kids with an uber strict father, and both generations may need to see side to side. Wow, I should make Mary Poppins bingo out of this. I really should.
I can tell you already, Fräulein Maria is not able to fly.
Which came first, by the way?
The Mary Poppins show.
Okay.
I don't know if the book. I think the book dates all even more. I think the book of Mary Poppins is actually even way older.
Keep also in mind,
the musical itself.
Keep also in mind, Jova, that the musical itself is actually based, well, romanticizing obviously, but loosely based on real life events. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why the children misbehave.
I don't know, Shira. It literally could be any reason.
Don't worry, Shira. Don't worry, Shira. We will address that.
I really hope that my dogs don't hear the whistling. As well.
Don't worry, Liz.
No.
We're gonna address that as well. Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Discipline.
Apparently, this musical actually isn't well known by the people of Austria.
Dweebs, leave that plot point to me. I will mention it later because it will become more relevant.
They're not dogs, sir.
No worry, Jova. She'll say it herself.
Obedience makes such fine people.
Jeez.
Names?
What is this?
Names!
I was about to say.
I'm sure they will. Provided that they aren't conditioned to kill the caretakers in their sleep.
Hold on, here
Or
you go.
if the whistle isn't used.
Here you go.
Uh-oh. What are you talking about? The nuns love me there.
I love Christopher Plummer's performance. Like he.
He looks so done.
Hold
Ooh.
Also, Java, you wanted the Disney comparison. Much like with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, this is another story where, our protagonist entering the life of this other actually gives them more dignity.
And there's and there's 7 of them.
Yep.
Well, in this case, they are little children, so... Well, kind of. One of them is actually a bit grown up more than the others. Yeah, there you go.
But you still answer to one. These are the most...
Props for honesty.
I gotta say, these are the most well-behaved, supposedly disobedient children I've ever seen. How polite.
I can draw props for honesty.
Again, it's so paradoxical. They're supposedly very disobedient, but they're acting so well-behaved.
They're conditioned, they're not well-behaved.
It also gives you an idea that for the father, it's never enough. They need to be practically teen soldiers for him.
And I suppose that probably is not going to actually work well.
Not only that, Jova, but keep that in mind for some parallels later.
I see Leia over there doesn't talk much. Fresh meat.
Yeah, it's like getting a substitute teacher at the school.
Yeah. Oh, sure, I'm curious. Were you ever kind to your substitute teachers, or did you, work the angles a bit?
No, we were all actually quite nice to ours.
Same.
Aw.
Okay.
Wow, somebody who talks like a human being.
And also with an Austrian accent to boot.
Okay. So, okay, maybe the obedience angle is a bit of a mask that they can...
Hey, I really hope that snake wasn't poisonous.
Okay, so these children would be well-fitting with the children of the corn, I see.
Oh, God.
This is no Lord of the Flies, don't worry, Jova.
If it's Lord of the Flies, they'd probably end up eating her alive. Oh! Maybe they are gonna eat her alive mentally, though.
But I do love what happens now.
Rheumatism, eh?
Yeah, here you go. Listen here.
You have to say grace. Grace!
Hold on. Just listen to let's listen to her, Grace. Go ahead.
Blackmail. Again, is she low-key blackmailing them?
No,
Pretty much. Well, kinda in a way.
she's more like making. She's more like trying to. There you go.
You know, it's a way of asserting dominance, Joe.
Making them feel ashamed.
It kind of implies that this is that she's the first governess that doesn't immediately complain to her to the father. So they're feeling a bit guilty.
Hey,
He looks like he's smiling away pain.
It's funny. It's funny because back then, apparently, at least according to TV tropes, Christopher Plummer didn't really get on with Julie Andrews.
Huh, the irony.
Nowadays they both consider each other really good friends. But back then, he was like calling her Miss Disney and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So, just like the characters, then.
Well, maybe that's what helped the performances, maybe. All right, so this takes place during World War II. So, Theo, you want to explain this since you seem like you wanted to?
See, Joe, back then there was a guy with a silly mustache that had a bit too weird, bizarre ideas going around. And the problem is that for this specific country, when he actually pretty much invaded it, he found no resistance. Austria pretty much surrendered unconditionally against Hitler, which also meant that every military van was immediately conscripted in the Nazis.
Except the Captain von Trapp here hates Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Huh.
This is also, well, okay, I've gotta be honest, I actually don't know how detailed the real history events actually happen, and I have a bit of talking about that later. But simply put, the musical, and by extension the movie, serves to showcase an idea that during World War II, not everyone who was basically invaded by the Nazi was immediately agreeing with the rules.
Pretty much.
All right, now we're about to get yet another song. Pretty much all of the songs in this movie are iconic, but this is another one. Because that boy that just came here to deliver that message, he's actually secretly Liesel's boyfriend.
Ooh.
Oh. Sure hope there's nothing scandalous about that.
Because you're tearing me apart, Lisa. Sorry.
It's Liesel, actually.
Close enough.
Be even more funny if it turns out that that's just the German way to do Lisa.
No, I don't think it's the same, but
I've actually seen a TV movie with Christopher Plummer in it that's connected to World War II.
Oh,
I guess
He was in a film called. He was in a film in 2000 about the Nuremberg trials.
maybe some casting gag. Who knows?
Maybe. He played a British guy in that one.
Ah, okay, then no. Yeah.
Which is ironic, because
again,
Hitler was Austrian.
Yeah. Again, one thing that the Nazis wanted to impose was the so-called purity of race, or whatever the hell that means. and as such, even the people who were conquered were forced to essentially have to think a mentality. They were, much bigger, better, and were to renounce their original, the original state they were, and now become German. So, oh, great! And this song is basically a paragon. Basically, this guy is essentially telling it, "Shut up, woman! You're gonna be my wife." Basically.
Well, you have to understand too that this thing is obviously a product of its time.
No. Well, that's the thing. Keep also in mind what he said about that before. Once again, it will build up later. Don't worry. I understand actually this time, Pedro.
Basically, you're almost legal age, babe.
Not to mention the movie itself. The musical in itself later on will actually reprise this song in a recontextualized manner anyway.
All right, so this song, 16 going on 17, is actually moved up earlier in the movie. In the original musical, it plays after Do Re Mi, but they decided to get the romance out of the way first.
Also, you want to have something a bit slightly more uncomfortable. In my country, due to how the lyrics would not function well if the actual age is translated directly, because number 16 and 17 get translated in a different manner, they had to change the lyric to 15, almost 16.
Wait, hang on. This guy's 17 years old. He looks 30.
Well, Dwebs,
Also, he's referring to her.
What's the character's name?
Rolf.
Rolf.
That's it, Rolf, sorry.
He was 20. By the time this song came out, he was 22.
Well, the character, I think, is, if I remember correctly, he's 17. No, for me, it's different too. For example, the song in English, the song goes, "The hills are alive with the sound of music." Since translating that into Portuguese doesn't sound nearly as good, they changed the lyrics to "The music is born inside my heart," hence the music in your heart title thing, because there are certain lyrics that just cannot be translated.
This is basically no. I understand this is a constant for how when musicals actually had to be translated in my country. On that kind of way, I tend to prefer just the original English for purity's sake.
There you go, 17.
17 to 18.
I actually have noticed that in some more recent editions, the lyrics have been changed so that she also says that she'll take care of him in return as well.
Yeah,
Depends on which one you go and see.
Yeah, this musical has been adapted and redone various times on Broadway. And with each new version, they slightly update the lyrics to reflect the current times, which is understandable, sure. The casting in this movie is also absolutely sublime. All the actors performed and sing their roles perfectly, and they are fantastic dancers as well.
If you get caught, it's all over. You do realize that.
They're going for a Romeo and Juliet thing, Joe, where they have to meet in secret because the father might not approve and shit.
You know, in some cases, the secret thing is more of a turn-on.
Well, no, that's common trope. Like the forbidden romance is
Yeah.
super exciting. So
Star-crossed and shit.
it's the whole forbidden fruit principle. You know,
Yeah.
where the
For-
more you
for as
forbid
much,
something, the more tempting it becomes.
For as much as that romance is something that I hate in the entirety of history of cinema, even Star Wars could not resist to do that with Anakin and Padme.
They did it even with Han and Leia as well.
Yeah, with him being
Yeah.
a thief and she being a princess.
You're right.
It's a tale as old as time. Just as long as you do it well and in a non-cringy manner, I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Navy.
Yeah.
Oh, people grieve differently.
Well, that's the thing, Dwebs. That doesn't necessarily mean that the children need to pay for his grief.
Not only
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but
That's why she says it's wrong.
not only that, but trying to block out everything of a dead loved one, that is not healthy.
So this
like,
guy's
ever.
pretty much doing. So this guy's doing pretty much the Navy equivalent of la la la, not listening, la la la.
Pretty much.
Don't worry, Dwebs. Don't worry, Dwebs. I'm sure Maria will be able to melt the captain's icy heart.
I'm sure she will.
How were therapists around this time, if any?
In the 1940s.
30s.
Actually,
Yeah, these are
the
the
beginning
30s.
narration, the end of the 30s.
Pretty much.
Okay, at the end of the third. Okay, the end of the 30s,
Remember,
beginning of the 40s, whatever.
the annexion of Austria happened before the actual invasion of Poland, which signified the beginning of World War II.
I'm sure.
Whatever. The point is, well, they were already around, but psychology wasn't as advanced as it is now. As it is today.
I'm sure that there
So-
were some good psychiatrists, but yeah, they weren't exactly up to par. And again, considering how this was when Austria was all on the Germany boat, who knows how influenced some of them might have been anyway.
Yeah, God bless what's his name.
Huh. And please tell her to work on her sneaking game. I could seriously hear her, obviously, the moment she opened my window. You know, making love out in the rain isn't really a good idea when it leaves some
Once
obvious
again,
clues.
you're catching pneumonia. This is not romantic.
Not only that, but in this case, it leaves some obvious clues that you were up to something. Oh yeah.
Because even in the non-musical bits, the audio is very
Christine.
cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, I'm pretty. I don't know who they got exactly to remaster the audio. Whoever they were, they did a pretty good job at it.
Yeah,
My
very
guess is
good.
that, well, this is the most beloved American movie musical of all time. Fox clearly did their best to preserve the original masters as they could.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, because it's one of their most beloved movies. So yeah.
I would imagine as such.
They probably spent quite a bit of money to keep everything intact.
Yeah, basically, this was a remaster done for a Blu-ray release.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing Disney just used that print for Disney Plus because that's how I'm watching this movie.
Yeah, there's no need for another remaster. This one is fine.
Yeah, I can see.
Unless they find a way to make it even more pristine than it already is.
Where?
Oh wait, I got it. The 60 frames per second version.
Please no.
I love I love how no, the others are not scared of the thunder. Why should they?
Better not let the dad hear them.
Are you sure about
And right on cue.
Mm.
I think the Aristocats or One Dalmatian had a similar joke.
Oh yeah, here in Britain, when they were airing it on TV, the BBC actually managed to get the rights to this, but it cost them over $4 million or US dollars, which is a record for them. And they've aired it of note twice in 1978 and 15 times at least since around 2016. And because
here's the most iconic song from the movie.
and because they don't have adverts, they didn't need to cut the movie or anything.
Nice. Hey, I remember this song from DBZ Abridged.
Yeah, this is the most iconic song in the movie.
If I got correct, okay, it's been actually a long time since I watched it, but I think even Kill Bill used it.
Yeah.
And again, Tarantino is very quirky, so...
In the original musical, this rendition we're hearing right now is a reprise of the original version when Maria's on the way to the mansion. But for here, they decided to just have the original reprise be just the main song, basically.
Not for nothing, but dogs biting and bees stinging are things that can kill you. Your first thought might want to be, get me some antiseptic, get me a doctor, get me patched up, rather than,
No,
thinking of
Joe,
your
but
favorite
stinging is
things.
the key.
I know. I'll think of warm woolly mittens.
Let's see, a venomous snake bit me? Well, I'll just think of the Nintendo Switch then. That'll save me from death. Telegrams?
Remember, Joe, it was the more advanced form of communication back then. It was kind of like, sending the letter to your
Not to
loved
mention,
one.
remember, Jova, we already established that Liesl and Rolf communicated via telegram.
Yeah.
True.
Also, cats are supposed to have whiskers. If they don't, that's a little concerning.
Hmm.
Well, that's what she said. She writes whiskers on kittens.
But
it's a
why
good
wouldn't
thing.
they
It's a
have
good thing.
whiskers?
Well, the fact that they have whiskers is a good thing. Therefore, it's a
Okay,
favorite thing.
I'll take that.
Right? See,
Okay.
There we go.
we're talking about good things, Shirai. So yeah.
Those tend to be annoying, honestly.
We don't even get snow here.
Also, these are just a few of
Okay,
your favorite
yeah.
things?
Who's been having dog bites?
Who's having fun?
Yeah. No fun allowed.
Oh, I didn't know that the instructions interfered with being a decent human being.
That's better than what I was gonna say.
Why does that
Was I
involve...
asking you?
Also,
Well,
how does...
technically, she's not lying.
Also, for
No.
It's just not in the way that.
Also,
that
for
he
our
wants
line,
her to
how
think.
does you and her getting more acquainted involve her getting wet?
That seems to be the only rule, sir.
That's because it works.
So of course I know what's best for them.
Of
Even if it's
course.
the worst thing for them.
Well, that just annoys me.
Of course, you do realize this means war.
But it's okay because Maria is very resourceful.
I know what I'll do. I'll wreck this guy's house property to make the outfits.
I think Maria's got an idea.
I'll make a dress out of the curtains.
Exactly.
Stop singing, I'm trying to sleep.
I'm
There you go.
Practice for a
sure.
musical.
I'm sure the captain will appreciate you making clothes out of his curtains.
It'll be the first time he's appreciated anything in a long time, so yes.
Why don't you make clothes out of his bed while you're at it?
Oh, look at all the beautiful vistas in Austria that we visited while making the movie.
It's funny. So, filmed in Austria, but Austria is not that too familiar with this.
Keep that in mind, Jova. I'll tell you more again later.
Oh yeah, speaking of, I mentioned earlier about the whole Christopher Plummer not getting on with Julie Andrews thing.
Yes.
I should elaborate a little bit. He apparently found her insufferable and annoying during filming, hence calling her Miss Disney to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that. Well, I mean, later on he said he was being immature about it. But back then he said he felt that working with her was like being hit on the head of a Valentine's card.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So basically, both of them were. So basically, it was ideal casting.
And also, apparently, when the real Maria von Trapp came to the set, Robert Wise didn't get on with her either. He felt she was bossy.
Wait. Sound of Music
so
is...
it's
Wait, hold on. Sound of Music is based on a real story?
Yes, Jova,
Yes,
I mentioned
yes.
it twice already.
Yes. Well, it's the same thing it's the same way that P.L. Travers was also very bossy when it comes to Mary Poppins. So.
Ah, classic kids who act out to get father's attention.
I also like that, like, from what you just said, he didn't even call her Miss Disney to her face. It was to everyone else. Like, that's...
Well, to be
Dude.
fair, he at the very least admitted that he was being immature.
I know.
All right, and now we're about to get my favorite song, and to me, this is my all-time favorite song in a musical ever, just
Huh.
because of how it's a masterpiece of songwriting, in my opinion. In fact, Jova, this is the primary reason why this song is shown to kids in music to teach kids music. Anyways, let's go. So he's just gonna teach them how to sing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. All right, Jova, pay attention. This is it. This is the one.
It's gonna be a test.
Alright, let me listen.
That is true.
Oh yeah, I remember learning this in elementary school.
Yeah, that's why a lot of schools use this movie.
We just took the do re mi parts and forgot everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make this a bit easier. Here we go.
It's like Julie Andrews is actually playing the guitar. Even though she clearly isn't. But, you know, you do what you
It's
can.
movie playing, Jova.
Yeah. I love it. Hold on. Hold on. Ooh, clever. So there you go. That's a mantra for you to memorize the musical notes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like movie typing. You just gotta pretend it's real.
I mean, yeah, I get it, maybe the people weren't as instructed in, fake playing here, but she's not even really moving the fingers up and down a lot.
Well, you can't team with anything, really.
But well, but bread is the word that rhymes with the rest of the lyrics, so we
Yeah.
have to use that one.
I hope you're not out too long, or the father will notice and ask, why are you mumbling do, re, mi?
It's a new form of education.
Alright, Joe, here we go.
Oh, what curtains did she make those clothes out of?
Can you do that, Jova?
Yeah.
Go.
Mi, do, re. So, do, la, ti, do, re, do.
Yep, exactly. Now put it all together.
Okay. Oh, re. So, do, la, ti, do, re, do.
But, hold on. Yeah.
Good job you're asking me to do this. I'd suck at remembering all of them.
Dear Lord, these lyrics are genius. Oh, God.
I can
This
see you
song
really
is
like this musical.
This song is literally describing how it got created.
I swear there's a word for that, but I can't remember.
Makes it easy, Dweebs. That's what it is.
It's just the lyrics are so clever. Like they managed to literally explain the song is literally talking about how its creation came about. Literally, they put the notes together, and then as Julie says, so we put in words, one word for every note. So Jova, as a song that is usually used by teachers as a tool for teaching music to kids, what do you think?
Yeah, it's very good. It's simple and teaches the methodology of, notes and whatnot.
Again, Rogers and Hammerstein were brilliant.
Listen, lady, I'm just trying to drive.
It's on the road.
Yeah, you're distracting me from driving. What if we crash?
Also, Robert Wise's direction is also brilliant. Like the visuals that go along with the songs also are incredibly fun to watch.
I can't help but wonder if Rogers and Hammerstein may have recycled a bit of this for another famous musical of theirs, The King and I.
Again, Jova, a bit for later. Again, I'm encompassing everything in that.
That's an interesting musical,
look at
by
that,
the
Jova.
way.
The
Yes.
musical scale.
See? Just like a music sheet.
The King and I was the last musical I saw.
Well, which version?
What do you mean, which version?
There are multiple versions of The King and I. Did you see the animated movie, the live action?
No, what is it? It was the last
actual
musical I saw,
musical,
meaning
Jova.
at the theater.
Oh, okay.
In the meantime, there you go. The captain's bringing the Baroness his new wife home. And now we're in a Seinfeld driving sequence.
Ah, yes, back when moving the steering wheel didn't match what was going on the backdrop behind them.
I'm sure you are.
hate music. Max Step.
Possible foreshadowing.
Is he TJ's granddad or something?
Sure, why not? Let's go with that. This is a
Again,
Disney movie.
again,
This
yeah.
is a movie now.
Yeah.
Local urchins. That's what we call.
He didn't recognize them because of the clothes.
Oh boy.
So why is what's Jimmy Andrews' character's name again? I've forgotten. Sorry.
Maria.
Maria.
Yeah. So what's Maria gonna say? You didn't recognize your own children. You're a really shitty father.
Well, she's actually gonna call him out on his bullshit in a few moments. So yeah.
We mentioned this movie's critical reception. Apparently, back then, response to this movie was actually quite mixed.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that already.
Quite a few reviewers trashed the movie, and I think one reviewer apparently referred to the movie as the sugar-coated lie people seem to want to eat.
Oh, what with it? Like, having more of like an upbeat attitude than one would expect in World War II.
Oh, so that is a pretty good quote, actually. Yes, this film is a sugar-coated lie.
I don't think Rogers and Hammerstein's intention was to make an actual proper historical piece.
Oh no. Yeah, definitely not. Given the elephant in the room.
I mean, this was a Broadway musical. It wasn't meant to be.
That again for later. There's a specific song where I think it's more appropriate to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone actually watched this movie and thought, "Oh yeah, this was totally how things were back then."
I guess it depends.
No, don't worry. Just keep that in back of your mind.
Let's just say, Pedro, we're referring to an elephant in the room regarding Rogers and Hammerstein.
Sure.
I wonder how much the owner of this garden charged Fox to use it. Yes, this dish is called the None of Your Business.
Just let me eat, please.
I bet you do.
Literally the stench of capitalism.
All right.
I want you to marry him instead.
Now she did what I did. Yeah, this is the none of your business talk. Yeah, this movie's for families. We can't go that into detail.
Yeah.
unless the 60s had different standards.
Not much lives.
I mean, then again, I've seen a lot of 60s movies, mainly Bond, but still.
Aha.
Okay, in the original musical, there's actually a song right here in this bit between the Baroness and Max. However, that song was cut from the movie.
Yeah.
Well, remember, he's obligated to.
Yeah.
Herbert Weiler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Needless to say, when this movie was released in Germany, they did cut out the Heil Hitler stuff. Considering
For a very long time, Germany actually had censorship laws regarding the stuff about Nazis. They only got lifted very recently, actually. They're asking so politely.
Yeah, topical. Hey, your kids are doing you proud, Navy Captain.
What is this laughing I am hearing?
Oh boy,
Someone's
here we
having
go.
fun.
I'm sorry, Sherry, did you
have
just
that
use
here.
the F word?
Yeah, he said the F word.
Seriously, at some point, they might as well be singing the SpongeBob fun song to them.
Oh boy.
He's doing well to hide his... Oh, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Spoke too soon.
No, laughing. What, did Laughing kill his wife or something? What's up with this guy?
What, did she die from being tortured by tickling?
Or the Joker?
So yeah, Java, in a way, the Northwest Mansion Mystery episode of Gravity Falls was kind of referencing this, control over your children on a very abusive level, borderline like animals.
But of course.
I say through gritted teeth.
Yeah, the wise decision, lady. Just...
You are so fired.
Alright, this is where Maria officially explodes.
For my curtains!
Ooh.
Yeah.
Captain, eh?
Freudian lapsus, Lives. That's what it is.
Who do you think? It's my theme song.
Yeah.
The power of music, everybody.
It can
Well, actually,
bring...
yes.
Well, on earth did they get that guitar?
They have it. They have one.
It's a spare one.
Yeah, it's a spare one that their mom kept in their bedroom.
Remember, they established earlier that the mom used to be. He was the one that sang over in house. So now they're reminding him of her.
Oh god, he's hypnotized.
It's contagious, Lives. Get the vaccine in time before you get victim too.
What is he doing?
He's having joy in his life, I think.
This is weird.
And we're not even halfway through.
Barely. That's the thing, Joe. Okay, well, I will say this. The movie actually has a very good pace when it comes to this.
And it's not been boring at all, so, you know. It also makes for nice gaps between songs.
Yes, it does.
I'm so sorry for treating you all like shit. Please forgive me.
Has he finally seen the light?
There you go. Music melted the captain's icy heart.
Well, I mean, we've got over 90 minutes left, so
Edelweiss.
Yeah.
It's a flower. Well, okay, obviously it's a flower, but
Not yet, Joe. But we'll have that song later.
it's okay. I think Weiss actually means white. Edel, I think it's mountain. So I think it's like.
There
Sorry,
you go.
I'm not proficient.
There you go.
You think?
Say the S word.
You already did.
yeah, he said an alternate version of it, the A word.
And into my heart. What?
Say what?
Just please stop making clothes out of the drapes.
Yes. That is a bit counterproductive.
And now the lonely goat herd.
I think correctly, this song also was made for the movie
There you go. See, Shira. Now fun is officially allowed.
Yay!
with puppetry.
These are some terrifying puppets.
Well, they're children-made puppets. Come on.
There were actual credits for the puppetry series, so there are people you can blame.
Oh my.
I mean, you can expect children to make puppeteers on the level of Captain Scarlet or some stuff like that. Fun fact, the Lonely Goat Herd originally is after 16 going on 17, because remember, in the original musical, 16 going on 17 is after Do Re Mi. So again, the order of the events in the story is quite a bit different in the original musical. However, more modern versions of the musical have adapted the order of the film. So nowadays, it depends on who's making and on who's producing the musical nowadays. Like, if depends on whether or not the producer prefers the movie order of events or the original musical order of events.
What is this foreign thing called laughter? He finally sees what it is. Cute.
I'm absolutely convinced that there is nothing that this woman cannot sing.
A really badly made song.
I don't know, this is Julie Andrews. I think she would at least be able to elevate the material a bit just because of how awesome she is. So, Liz, what do you think of the puppetry, considering it's amateurish puppetry?
Again, I'm not going to judge it by Captain Scarlet / Thunderbird standards or anything, because that's really unfair. This is going for a completely different style, and it's fine. I mean, for people who for kids making it who aren't any older than 16, it's a pretty good one.
All right.
All right.
Well, Maria's tired.
Huh. Wait, what?
That very condescending slapping.
Why?
He's very protective.
No pressure. What is this singing?
All right, and this is Edelweiss, the quintessential song for the captain that pretty much is the ultimate insight into his character. Yeah, if I knew I was going to be in a family full of singers, I would have brought something to play with.
Yeah, and this song is essentially tied to what I was mentioning before. See, well, clearly we know real ill intent. Remind me again the name of the two people who made
Rogers and
the...
Hammerstein.
Thank you. Tended to take these historical facts and romanticize them to the point of being very ambiguous, on if they, wanted to be on borderline genuine, potentially disrespectful. Not indeed in this case, but the King and I is the much more contentious part, and considering it was made during the McCarthy period, it felt borderline propaganda against communism, but that's a topic for another time. In this case, I'm bringing up for this song because apparently a lot of Americans, including former President Ronald Reagan, believe that this was the official Austrian national anthem.
Excuse me?
Yes, really.
Not helped also by the fact that Rogers Hammerstein didn't really do much to dissuade people from thinking that. This would also be shown in other works of theirs as well, including most famously.
Okay, Joe, but I think the last of the pair had died by the point Ronald Reagan became president.
Not only that. Okay, this is also the major reason why Austrians and Germans really don't like the movie. They're basically viewing their country to be stereotyping the sugary fashion that we've mentioned before. And there's also the fact that the real-life Maria von Trapp originally did not really like the relationship with her husband. She did mention that the musical actually did help balance things out, and she had much more fond memories. So this actually helped her. But yeah, like it was actually still a huge risk. Now, actually, I have no other experience aside from the King and I with the other musicals done by the pair. So I can only comment on those two.
And the King and I is a whole nother bag of worms here.
Yeah, the King and I is very loud about what it's doing.
So basically, to get to whatever point I wanted to make, this musical is still fine and actually good written. The musics are still nice, but it has that kind of shadow behind its feet.
Why? I keep thinking Ave Maria is in this film.
In the context, I'm sorry. There's what?
For some reason, I keep thinking Ave Maria, the song.
From Schubert?
Is it?
No, they didn't need to.
I think I'm getting it confused with another musical.
In the context of the story itself, it's all about how absolutely proud and loving of his country the captain is, and how he absolutely refuses the Nazi regime.
Like I said, well, okay, I can imagine this is also what happened, well, less romanticized, obviously, in real life. But honestly, the musical and the movie actually do give this good message that it wasn't, as immediate as one may think. Oh no, now you will have to pledge your allegiance to the swastika and you'll be okay with it. Yeah, speaking of which.
Okay. I'm not sure if you guys have a different cut, but mine just has a white and red flag there. Is that the Austrian?
That's the Austrian flag. Yeah, that's the
yeah.
We
saw that too.
That's the fun point. This guy, if I recall correctly, is most displeased that they're not using the quote-unquote correct flag.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
I see. I thought I was watching some edited version where they cut out the Nazi
No,
symbols.
don't worry,
Wow,
Dave.
wow, and one of the characters actually reacts to the edit. That would be the first.
It's like the Star Wars Special Edition. No, just no.
All right.
See, look, she's bowing and dancing with nobody. This is clearly edit.
Yeah, she even said it.
Okay, this is now these kids become Deadpool.
They're practicing.
Yeah.
Cute. But yeah, I think the best way to describe Rogers and Hammerstein is like, well, they made some fantastic musicals that have a lot of awkwardness behind them, time date or not.
Mm-hmm.
This was a common thing, Trova, among the decades of the time. The 50s and 60s were all, reek of these more lighter way of viewing life in general. It was also reflected, of course, in the Silver Age of comics, for example.
I will say this, though, whereas with sound and music, I get it. I'm really disappointed with how they handled The King and I, considering how they're already...
Again, I want to save that properly for whatever adaptation we might cover of that shit.
Well,
but,
I mean, the point...
Once again, the time the musical was made, it was pretty much clear that they just wanted to, not put in a good light a country that was under communist regime.
But it was
sure.
very mocking.
Yeah.
Hey, Shiri, question.
Yes.
What did you think of Peter Griffin's adaptation of The King and I?
Oh, the best version. Clearly.
Best version, right?
Oh, man.
Wasn't The King and I a Warner Brothers film?
The animated adaptation specifically. I forgot. There was the musical, a 50s movie, the live-action movie, the animated adaptation, and the more recent live-action movie with the actor who plays Draco Malfoy as the kid of Anna.
I am a robot ninja. I am a robot ninja from the planet England who have come to free this country from your tyranny. We must come to fight.
Okay, Pedro, it's funny. That episode was the first exposure I ever had to that musical. And honestly, it was misleading in both how Lois and Peter portrayed it, which is hilarious. I mean, Peter's was obviously bullshit anyway, but Lois's I expected to be a little more accurate, but no, not really.
Uh-oh. Guys, we have a problem.
Yeah.
I think Maria might be having some feelings.
Oh.
No.
I had to be away from my screen. What was that?
They were dancing together, and Maria's all red after the dance.
There are children here, you know.
Of course, and here's
Another song, yeah.
And this song is probably the second most iconic after My Favorite Things. So Long Farewell.
So long. What was the end of the movie already?
No, they're just saying goodbye because they're going to bed, Libs.
Yeah, we're only halfway through, Dwebs.
Does this film have an intermission or something?
It does, actually, yeah.
Oh. Wonder if that's why the film's...
That was the norm back in the day. So.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why the film... I wonder if that's why the film's so long. the screen is actually a 10-minute intermission.
It's actually
But I
it
could-
actually makes. Go ahead.
I mean, I do know the the film adaptation of the Oliver Twist musical has one.
It actually does make sense to us because the time at certain point in time when this movie has its intermission, it's close to the end of Act 1 of the original play. Not quite the same because Climb Every Mountain shows up in Act 1 in the original play, but for here they moved it to Act 2.
I mean, the most recent film I've seen in cinemas with an intermission is The Hateful Eight.
The extended version.
It was the one I saw in cinemas. So,
Okay.
Remember, Drova, some countries don't do that anymore.
No. I get that. What I mean is like, well, nowadays there's the extended version of Hateful Eight, which actually is now.
No, usually Drova extended versions don't get run in theaters. They're usually
Tier.
Sorry,
Obviously, I was saying that before he clarified that it was he saw it in theaters.
Sure. Sorry.
Basically, the current extended version of Hateful Eight is divided into four hour-long sections, essentially. Oh, look at that! She finally speaks.
Not only does she speak, she sings.
I've been expecting you, Anna. Allow me to introduce my Siamese children.
is this going to be the? Is this going to be? Is this what the father's going to use, like how Carrie Fisher used the holiday special to get people to leave their home?
No, people are actually enjoying it.
Yeah. No, seriously, goodbye, get out, we're tired, you want to go to bed? See, look, some of them are leaving.
Oh.
Yeah, the children
She's not
did say good.
amused.
The children did say goodbye. So if you could all just please,
Be quiet.
I think it was just because it was their bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is a big enough house. I'm sure the bedrooms are far enough away from the hall for them to not be disturbed.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Damn.
I don't think he likes. I don't think he likes the Nazis very much.
No.
Nah.
You
Yeah.
think?
What tip do you do?
Well, I mean, him be rather miffed at that male person who did the Nazi salute right in front of him.
I mean, you are played by Julie Andrews, after all.
True.
I can't even say a thing about the haircut because it was kind of like also a trend.
Such a happy coincidence, is it not?
Well, remember, Jova, she's hearing in what was supposed to be in God's command, so. There's also the fact that she doesn't
Okay, I
want to
believe you.
There's also the fact that she doesn't want to ruin anything involving, you know, the
Yeah,
the soon to be-
the atmosphere that has been created.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Huh.
And there she goes, back to the Abbey.
I'm sure she won't see them ever again.
Absolutely.
Well, Theo, gotta have a cliffhanger for Act 2.
Oh, gotta be honest, I will take this over any of the traditional second act breakup because it is actually more elegant and less annoying.
It also has to do, like I said, it has to do with the fact that this was originally written for a play, and usually it's good to have cliffhangers in between acts.
Obviously.
So.
I don't know. I like the typical bombastic Act 1 end songs for musicals.
All right, guys, and now that Maria's departed in the middle of the night, now it's time for an intermission. A chance to stretch our legs, get some popcorn, and yeah, okay.
Okay.
So,
So can we give our middle for? Oh no, wait, it's over.
Sorry, Dweebs. The movie's
Sorry,
ahead
Dweebs.
of you.
sorry, Dwebs.
That was hardly an intermission.
and now an entr'acte. Don't worry, guys. We'll just listen to some orchestra to the orchestra while the actors are taking a break.
Can I give my midway force of the movie while this is going on?
Well, like if you want to, I guess.
It's pretty good so far, and that's it.
All right, very concise.
Brilliant.
There you go.
So basically, this is the "Get Your Asses Back in the Seats" song.
Yes.
Pretty much. Hey, at least it's themed with the movie. At least, I don't even know for how long, but at very least recently, intermissions here are basically just an excuse to have more commercials on screen.
I'm willing to bet that
even in theaters one.
I'm going to
It's
bet that
just
the main
sad.
reason that this intermission was kept was because, of the music included in it.
That too, yeah. The music. I don't know if this particular piece of I don't remember if this particular piece of the music was in the original Broadway version. In between the two acts, maybe yes, maybe not. Like I don't know if it would be interesting if it was, because that means that the actors get to take a break, but the orchestra doesn't. All right. All right, and that was the end of our intermission, everybody. So we return you back to our feature presentation.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, look at it this way: we're still a shorter intermission than The Godfather.
Are we now?
Didn't know The Godfather even had an intermission. I guess
In
the
the
cut
origi-
I watched to cut it out.
Yeah, the original version did. Well, which version of the movie do you want, Dibs?
I watched the Blu-ray ones. I'm guessing it was like the Coppola restoration.
Ah, okay, yeah, because Coppola, when he did that, he cut out the intermission.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, what's the point of an intermission if you can pause the film? That's pretty much an intermission.
Some people like to preserve the intermission to preserve the movie exactly as it was for the sake of history.
For example, Dweebs, the version me and the others have watched of Fantasia actually had the intermission, even though it was just more symbolic than anything. While the VHS that I grew up with from my country actually did not include that.
Oh boy.
Aw, that's nice. He learned that music is a better way to get through to them, at least.
Yeah, but they don't really want to sing without Fraulein Maria.
But of course.
Oh, come on now. I've heard that song 55 times already.
You'll hear it again, Father.
It's the main theme of the movie,
I was on
after all.
the mustachio guy over there. Long and cool. What do you mean, like one of those really, really long glasses of beer?
Yeah. And we're never speaking of this again. True. Boy.
Oh?
I'm just dumping this info new completely out of the blue.
I'm sure
Hope
you'll
you
take
enjoy.
it very well.
Jesus.
sure this will all go well.
But yeah, the kids want answers, so they're gonna go to the Abbey to see if they can talk to Maria.
Please take her away. Ever since she came here, she's been singing non-stop. We haven't been able to sleep in months.
Oh.
Repentance drove her.
Yes, I know.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's just out of context when you say I want to show you her my finger. It's like, that kind of finger.
Also, seclusion in this time and day is quite an interesting subject.
Children, am I right?
Great, now we have a lot of other problems.
Basically, ever since, yeah, exactly. She hasn't told any of the nuns what exactly happened.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's not something that the others have imposed on her. It's something that she self-imposed because she thinks she basically went too far.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're actually we're actually about to address that in a moment right now. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at first, I mean, we can't just forget the frog incident. Oh?
Him?
Wasn't there a character called him in the Powerpuff Girls?
Yes.
Yes, so this
Yes,
is standing for the devil.
Pretty much,
The
yeah.
devil. We can't use the term devil because kids show. So.
But he's very obviously the
Oh,
devil.
wait. Oh, no. Actually, Pedro, something. You can use the term devil in a kid's show. It's hell you can't say.
How backward.
That's kind of confusing to me.
That's usually how you have characters say, what the devil, instead of what the hell.
Oh, that. Oh, I guess, sure. But anyway.
Yeah, I think we all realize that rating systems are a bit backwards.
Yeah. True that.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, the Mother Superiors is very understanding.
Yeah, you must go back and find out if this is indeed what you're meant to do. Wow, for an old mother nun, she is incredibly smart and
Understanding.
insightful. Surprising. And this is my second favorite song. I love this song, especially because this actress completely knocks it out of the park.
Love this song.
I love all of the songs. While they had problems with their romanticizing of stuff, there is no denying that they were brilliant songwriters.
Pretty much.
Oh, pretty much, yeah.
Well, that begs the question. Well, okay, I'm not sure if it's a good comparison, Pedro, but begs the question: who do you think were better between them and, say, the Sherman brothers?
Well, them, Rogers and don't get me wrong, I love the Sherman brothers, but Rogers and Hammerstein were just on a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm. All right.
After all, they hail from the golden age of Broadway too. So. Seriously, for an old woman, she has an incredibly powerful voice.
Well, I can guess that she's also like a veteran theater actress.
Most of these are, yes. I hear you.
I wonder if they did the singing live while they were on set, or did they dub these over?
No, the singing you hear is recorded in studio.
And it's basically playback.
Damn.
Duly noted.
If it wasn't for the fact that it's kind of not appropriate, if I was in the Broadway play when this woman finishes this, I would stand up and clap, but not the time.
Depends.
So, sometimes it is allowed, like in the middle, potentially, if the song is really good and there's like a bit of a pause between that and reprise. Yes, sometimes it can also lead to an encore. Yeah.
Oops. Oh, so it's strawberries now.
Of course. The fruit that fills you with most completion.
Did you wash them first?
Hopefully.
Oh, copy.
He's giving you an out here, kids.
The desperation is real.
Well, yeah, that's true. Let's think of our favorite things. Here you go, Theo. Think about gods killing each other.
I wonder if there'll be a twist on this where they're so sad they keep singing about things that make them sad that represents the current state of mind. See?
Because singing isn't the answer to everything, honey.
Well, if you have Julie Andrews joining in your song, maybe.
So what is that like a summoning call now?
What kind of yokai tribe she will fit better?
I wonder.
Fun fact, Julie, I actually do know this thanks to the behind-the-scenes DVD that I have. Julie Andrews really got it well along with the kids themselves, even if not so much with Christopher Plummer, and she even taught them how to sing Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So,
I wonder if that was basically a if you kids can sing this song, the songs in this movie shouldn't be an issue.
Kind of a testing, potentially. Remember, Dweebs, a lot of child actors cannot act for saving their lives, let alone singing, potentially, so these kids had to be prepared. And the wedding's tomorrow. Exactly.
exactly, Joba's phone. I agree.
Wait, what is Fidel? You never told us. Well, you keep singing about warm woolly mittens all the time, so I made that for your dinner. Yeah, well, that'd be an interesting thing. I mean, if the father was a dick the whole way through, you probably take the lyrics of the favorite thing song and make all them for their dinner.
Well, it's a common thing in musicals where maybe the villain will twist an earlier song into his
like Aladdin, for example.
It's called a dark reprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You keep singing about whiskers on kittens, so here, have that for your dinner.
There you go, Shiro. I see. In Dweb's headcanon, the captain will feed Maria whiskers on kittens.
How horrible.
If Dwebs was playing the captain, maybe.
Yeah.
He wishes.
The Fiend.
I know, right? But yeah, things seem to be a bit amiss.
Hey, York, I'm talking to you.
Well, yeah, it's good climate, I guess.
I would think so.
It's no use.
Yeah. I think the feeling's mutual there, pal. Mutual agreement. Well, you know, at least she's understanding of it.
Everybody's understanding in this movie.
Very understanding.
This is actually one of the things that I actually do appreciate about the movie. That's one thing that I think they improved the Baroness character in comparison to the original Broadway play, and even the more modern versions of the play.
Oh, let
adopted
me
as well.
guess. In the original play, she was probably your typical rival or whatnot.
Pretty much. Like I said, remember how I said earlier that there was a Max and Elsa song earlier that got cut from the movie? That was part of it. You know, it was all about how she was, planning on, get married with him because she likes him, but at the same time, she was going to send the kids to a boarding school. And yeah, like we
Yeah.
saw, that's still left in the movie, but it's nowhere near as pronounced as it was in the song from the original Broadway play. However, apparently the filmmakers thought, okay, now let's try to make her a little less cartoonish in her antagonism.
Mhm.
So they grounded her a bit more here, which I do appreciate. And even, like I said, the more modern takes on the play adopted this as well. So it varies because the Portuguese adaptation of the play that I do have is kind of a mix of elements from the original 50s play and this movie. So it's kind of a hybrid of both. And that's how I know these things. So it depends on who's producing the adaptation. Some people prefer the original version, some people prefer the movie version. It depends.
But
I
wait,
get the
there's nearly 50 minutes left in this movie. What more conflict could there be?
Well, we've
And
already
they
talked
both-
about the rest of the conflict.
Well,
Really, really
That's sure
both-
to come. There's still the Nazi invasion stuff that we've already discussed.
did we discuss? Well, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, we discussed the Nazi invasion, but like in the context of the story, though, did we?
No, it's gonna become a plot point, Java.
Exactly. I'll admit, there's definitely a lot of plots at hand with this movie.
They're all paced pretty well, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if nothing else, like I said, if nothing else, Rogers Hammerstein was at least good at putting a musical together.
Even at pacing, because it could have been so easy to just, meander. Again, this is the polar opposite of Star Wars Holiday Special, where you do feel genuinely thing every single second, even if it's half the time. Hmm.
What is a man but a pile of broken notes?
Yeah, let's go with that. Also, I really like how this sequence is shot, on a directorial level.
This particular song is actually my mom's favorite song in the movie.
Oh,
Oh.
really?
It's somewhere over the rainbow in this film.
No,
that's
dude.
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, Dwibs. You're like around 30 years behind.
Later.
Well, behind too. Wizard of Oz was in 39.
Oh yeah, wasn't this made after?
That's what I said. He's in 1949 right now.
Oh,
it
okay.
seems.
Sorry. My bad. Just misinterpreted the other way.
I keep getting these songs mixed up. I'm that guy. What next? Am I going to be one of those guys that thinks?
Loops, you're like those grandmas that think Green Lantern is in the Avengers.
The song is called Something Good.
Ah, yes. It still hurts, by the way.
You'll get better.
I was going to say standing there on the edge of tomorrow or something. Although it's interesting since both of these actors would end up being in sci-fi series, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Plummer would be in Star Trek. Well, that was the Sound of Music, a rather lovely ending.
If only, Loops. This is a case where they kind of will have to earn the happy ending.
Well, what's next? Oh. You were saying, Tio? They're at the wedding now.
Loops, like I said, the movie is not over.
Well, look at the bright side. At the very least, the preparations for the Baroness' wedding don't get wasted. We can use them for. We just switch the bride.
Thank goodness the dress fits.
Yeah, could you imagine if it didn't? They have to delay the wedding by again.
How ironic. She originally trained to be a nun, but now she'll be a bride.
Mm-hmm. Of course, with a military uniform.
I'm sure you would have never have seen this coming when you first opened the door to her, eh?
Is that really the song you should be singing right now?
It's a Dwibs. It's a triumphant reprise to show that the
Exactly.
problem has been solved.
Yep.
Can't you solve a problem like Maria? Just let her get married so she'll be out of our hair.
Kinda, yeah.
This is also the musical, kinda in a cheeky way, potentially saying something. Oh, this was God's plan all along.
Well, yeah, the Reverend Mother did say earlier that she's supposed to she has a great capacity to love, and she must find out how God wants her to spend
Yeah,
that love.
the place in your world,
Saying I'm a problem at a wedding isn't going to help, you know.
No, don't you see? We're singing that you're a problem that got solved.
How nice.
Look, you're getting a happy ending out of it, alright?
Just be happy about it.
Shut up and be happy.
Well, just don't call me a problem.
Well, we're not currently calling you a problem.
We were saying that you were once a problem. It's past tense. And
Wasn't you be saying, how did you solve a problem like Maria?
The lyrics don't twist that easily, honey.
so if I understood correctly, Dwebs, does Maria in your head canon also hate being talked about in the past tense?
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I'm not dead yet, you rude.
It's funny, with this kind of music and trumpet prize, you really would expect the credits to roll, because it actually is more fitting for a final song. But no, we still have an issue to resolve.
Yep.
You're like, how the hell is this kid hanging onto that rope?
Bell ringing is an art in itself, Dibs.
Ah. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Hey, remember when that symbol wasn't associated with all that is evil and unholy? Good times. Wasn't alive for them, but I'm sure those were good times.
I wonder how the locals that were aware of the filming felt about this.
They probably did some. Well, okay, no, Dire 3 did something different with the signing that Bruce Willis was hanging in Harlem, but they probably did issue a warning.
Is Hitler gonna get a song in this too?
No, Joe, but this is not the producer.
That would be funny. Like Hitler having a song in The Sound of Music.
Wouldn't be the
He's too
most out
busy
of
drawing
place
Snow White
thing.
fan art.
Yeah.
Yeah, he drew.
Yeah, Hal, whatever.
Yeah, because he drew
exactly.
fan art for both Snow White and also Pinocchio too.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Sure it is.
There's the irony.
Huh.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I think I can't. I don't remember if I mentioned this specifically earlier, but the German release of this film cut out the entire third act
Not surprised.
because there was no way they were going to cut out just all the
Look at
Nazi
these Wade
bits.
waves. Nowadays they actually can enjoy it in its entirety.
I was saying because there was no way they were going to just be able to cut out all the Nazi bits because that's all throughout the third act, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how in a wrestling example, about 10 years ago, JBL in wrestling got in trouble for basically doing the Nazi salute as a way to get heel heats. He was in Germany at the time.
And yeah, remember the kid from before? He decided to enlist.
Oh dear. Yeah. Brainwashed or forced to do it, who knows?
You'll see, but by the end
Oh,
of it,
here we
but,
go.
but the,
Hold on, Till. I actually want to commentate on this. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so allow me to explain something that I really wanted to. This is one of the big reasons why I was very passionate about doing this commentary. Okay, so both the play and the movie were gigantic hits in my country. And allow me to remind you, back when this movie was brand new, my country was under a dictatorship.
mm-hmm.
And whenever it got to this point where the captain tears off that flag, the people in the audience would clap and cheer.
I can
Because
imagine that.
they basically really wishing they could do that themselves. Because at the time we all hated our very own country just because of how horrible it was to be here at the time. So and that's actually one of the big reasons why this movie really took off in my country and is still very well beloved today because of what it meant during that time period for a lot of people. It was a big source of escapism.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude, is money really that important to you? Then
Well,
again, one of my
He sold out to the Nazis, so yeah, pretty much.
Mm. Mm. Well, because it works so well right now.
All right, Maria, now that you're her mother, you have to have a mother talk.
oh boy. Have you even covered the birds and the bees yet?
Well, she's probably a bit too old for that conversation at this point.
Who knows? It depends on when her mother died and how well her father was at telling it. For all we know, she may have never gotten it.
There you go. Now this is actually the reprise that I mentioned, where the 16 to 17 song actually, gets brought back, and actually in a more positive manner. Might as well.
All right. Fun fact as well. Another song that from the original music that was cut from the movie was "An Ordinary Couple," which was actually a song that Marie and the captain sing around this point in the story, where basically they have some talks about how things are going to be going from now on. But considering the urgency of the Nazi stuff, the filmmakers decided to cut that and get straight to the point.
And now he's got to join them.
Yeah.
And as we've already realized, he would rather die before that happens.
So how are we gonna get out of this one?
Good question.
There you go. We're gonna leave Austria.
Thankfully,
No.
Jova. See, Jova, it's not like there's a conveniently placed neutral country adjacent to Austria.
Yes. And I'm sure that there may be somebody within the rings to maybe help us slip by as well.
We're going to flee the country because the Austria the captain used to love doesn't really exist at this point.
So they're gonna escape to Switzerland, I take it.
Yes.
Yes. Again, this is another big reason why people back in the day in my country really love the movie, because because they also would love to leave Portugal at that point, just to get away from it all.
When did the Portuguese dictatorship end?
In the late 60s, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since let me double check real quick.
Yeah, like you right now, blabbermouth.
Remind me again,
Keep
Teo,
it quiet, child.
Yes.
Remind me again, Teo, what was your time? Because if I remember correctly, the Mussolini one was also around the same time.
It was called well, in an English term, the 20 years, from the 20s till 43, 44.
Oh, so
No, it ended before the end of World War. Basically, Pedro, people got pissed off and decided to internally revolt, and then the Americans got all the credit, basically.
It's a bit more complicated than that, but yeah, that's a part of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Job. I'll
whenever
pass
I hear
my
about
judgment from my people.
Whenever I hear people talk about Sound of Music, I don't really hear them talk about these bits.
That's because I think people would rather not.
Oh, okay. Here you are. Here you are. Here I am too. Basically, mine was even longer. Mine was from 1942 all the way to 1968.
So
So basically a total of 36 years. So yeah, Teo, that's the thing, Teo. This third act was probably the one that back in the 60s my country loved the most because it
I'm surprised they even allowed to play it, considering it probably would have been detrimental to them.
That's the thing, Teo. From what I can tell, apparently the government at the time wasn't aware.
Okay.
When they looked at the marketing, they just saw the happy bits where the children singing and shit like that. The third act stuff was never actually shown in the marketing, so they weren't aware. And when people went to see it, they kept their mouths shut because they didn't want the movie to be taken away from them. Basically, so basically, it was a little secret space. Basically, this movie was kind of oh, let's escape. Let's pretend for a moment that we live in a place where we can actually escape all this. Basically.
Sure.
You will.
Yay. Yay. If you keep repeating that, it sounds like you're not believing in yourself.
Yeah. Dude, people who aren't full of shit usually don't feel the need to constantly repeat about how they're not full of shit. Just saying.
How kind of you.
From some
another-
angles,
this-
from
this is
some angles, he looks like Michael Fassbender.
But yeah, this is another scene that gets parodied a lot. I insist. We wouldn't want you to get lost on your way there, would you? Like when in the Nostalgia Critic review of
Rockadoodle, yeah.
Rockadoodle, where you did surely, Mr. Plummer, you won't realize that you're supposed to play the evil owl in our latest family film, animated film. I'm afraid that would be impossible. I insist.
Heck, we've mentioned it before, so might as well mention it again. Like, even Family Guy has just said random lines from this movie.
Oh, that's because Seth MacFarlane has said this. This is actually his favorite movie. So
I
He's
can
also
understand,
very big
'cause-
on musical theatre,
Yeah,
as you can
considering he
tell.
loves
so.
to sing and also have musical pieces himself, I can get the idea.
Sing like your life depends on it, because it
Because
very well might.
Yeah, that's what literally is.
Right, okay, song's over. Off you go to Bremerhaven. I'm surprised he hasn't done that. Yeah, say, all right, song's over.
No,
Off you
no,
go.
remember, Dweebs, this is a competition, so we need to see basically until the very end with the award assigning and all. Yeah, very good. It's another reprisal by the device, and this is probably the reason why a lot of people, misinterpret this as the national anthem, because it's played in this context.
I think it's also a bit like I said. I think there was also that problem where, I mean, it would, Ronald, it would have helped if you actually saw the movie, so you could actually see this in context.
And as if Ronald Reagan was an actual actor, you would think he would actually be more knowledgeable about movies.
Context is everything. You realize that, right?
Oh man. Christopher probably almost cracked his voice with that.
Remember to singing this song to these people is killing him inside.
Really, man, no. I mean, you understand it's basically, emotional impact that he's having right now. I mean, in one way or another, he is true. He's not going to be home for a very long time, so we have to leave everything, property and all. Sorry. If I recall correctly, because I haven't seen it yet, but judging from what I've read about it, apparently the man in the high castle actually plays around with the concept of misconception that I mentioned. But again, since I haven't seen it yet, I don't know in what specific way it might be. So, but still might be interesting. Well, again, props for honesty.
It was probably quite a bit of money for the time.
I actually do wonder. Okay, now I'll say this in a couple of minutes when it become a bit more relevant. Ah, there you go. Yes, you see, Joe, I do wonder if Blues Brothers actually took inspiration from this for the scene of the final concert. At the start of Everybody Needs Somebody, they mention about the police waiting for them.
Very possible. It's like they're giving us a musical.
So yeah, obviously their final song will be "So Long Farewell."
See, Jova, it was actually more fitting to be the final one.
Yeah, so long, suckers.
And thanks for all the fish.
Good night. Wait.
So who is the winner of the music festival?
Gee.
The losers will be shot on sight.
Jesus.
I mean, it's a harsh competition, Dweebs.
Not that also, surely.
I don't know.
Music
That
is serious.
I don't know. That sounds like the kind of contest you'd come up with in your head cannons.
I think it was ever since I saw that episode of Doctor Who, where if you lose a game show, you get executed.
You are the weakest link.
Goodbye.
Well, that's kind of how the game works in the World Ends with You. Actually, if you lose,
Yeah.
if the time runs out,
If you die in the game, you die in real life. So.
I thought you were gonna say the weakest link exists in the World Ends with You.
No, but well, it could be an interpretation if you want, but no, not in a
But
literal
Japan
sense.
did have their own version of the show.
Oh yeah, well, each country had their own version at some point.
So yeah, now Max is gonna try and stall as much as he can.
How kind of him.
And yeah, they're using the 20th Century Fox for jingle. I forgot which specific thing it is because it is kind of like Warner Bros. Using one of the tracks from their movies. But yeah, it's a nice touch.
It's interesting how this movie went from try to warm up a cold father's heart to
Escape the
escaping from
Nazis.
Don't you see? He was just the first boss.
Well, remember, Dweebs, truth is... Well, okay, you don't know, but truth is stranger than fiction, so... Yeah.
Oh, it looks like they've left on a car. I can hear the horn.
Oh, shit.
Gotta love Max's reaction.
Mr. Orthodox.
So yeah, they actually hid in the Abbey.
Yeah, the climax, technically speaking, takes place in the Abbey. For how short it might be.
Bookend, if you will.
Yeah. Say please first.
Boss is going to do the whole. Oh, I'm sorry. it's the
Again,
wrong key."
please.
Such uneducated people. Well,
Oh crap!
um,
What do we do now?
they will have to take the mountains, basically.
Have
Yeah.
fun hiking.
They're gonna have to literally, Dwibs, climb every mountain.
It was actually, well, to put also in perspective, Waves, the Alps are not exactly just a bump of a hill. They range from 2,000 to 4,000 meters in height. So, yeah. Well, to be fair, people who lived in the area developed naturally, pathways and, tricks to actually climb them easily, so... Definitely not.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. We're gonna scratch that right now.
Is that a metaphor for saying that the Nazis are joyless people?
Who knows?
Hmm.
I gotta say, it's pretty tense for a musical that was the first
I
about
know,
singing
right?
about our favorite things.
Well,
Well,
dude,
this
you
is
know
what
they
happens
say,
when you bring the Nazis in.
the calm before the storm, Dwebs.
Not just that, this is also helped by Robert Wise's directorial abilities. So,
Not to mention, the Nazi stuff has actually technically been brought up throughout the entire movie. It's just that
I know, but
eventually,
now it's
eventually,
it's
eve-
here.
it's eventually built up to this.
The fact that this has had no music at all for a while also helps.
of course, the children will clearly be able to climb there.
Well, I guess they want to be thorough.
But oh, it looks like Rolf is there with them as well.
Rolf, look into your heart.
The music is born inside of your heart. Oh, remember that's how the lyrics were translated over here. So.
Oh shit!
Yeah, outsmarted by the same trick.
Oh crap.
Hmm.
Nothing to
Yeah,
see.
Yes, Mr. Von Trapp, provoke the very trigger happy and potentially, very in tune with the ideals, boy. That works so well for young Solo.
Looks like you don't quite have the chops for this,
Ooh.
do you, Rolf?
Well, shit.
Talk a big
Maybe you
game.
shouldn't provoke him. Fuck. Well, at least we gain some advantage.
Oh yeah, now the action's getting good.
Well, Joe, I can tell you this: don't expect something like an Indiana Jones chase sequence out of this.
Well, duh.
I actually
Oh,
remember what
watch
happens
this.
now, though. Yeah, I love this one.
The forces of the Third Reich, everyone, outsmarted by a Home Alone trick.
Well, don't worry, dearies. I'm sure God will turn. Will let you get away with this one.
Wait a minute.
And yeah, Joe, the movie basically just stops pretty much here.
And
Oh
Dwebs,
yeah.
and now, Dwebs, this is the scene that probably inspired Peter Jackson to fill his movies with this shot.
Yeah.
There you go. See? There you go. Oh my God, Peter Jackson ripped this off, you hack.
You can even see the fact that the grass is moving from the helicopter.
You see, there's Climb Out of the Mountain is actually Peter Jackson's personal anthem, probably, considering he loves having his characters climb mountains.
Yeah, I guess.
Even as the choir.
Can I go first on my final thoughts?
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
It is still a bit of a interesting twist of having most of the movie be pretty much happy-go-lucky stuff about trying to do foster fathers' icy hearts, and it turned into escaping from the Nazis at the end. But overall, I think it's a very good, enjoyable movie with a lot of heart and some really good songs. And that's all I got to say about that.
All right, Shirai.
Yeah, this is a wonderful movie. This is my first time seeing it in full, anyway. The songs are all fantastic. I mean, much like everyone, despite not seeing the movie, at least until now, I knew the entire soundtrack. So, the Mary Poppins comparisons are a little funny, even if this is very different. Even if the movie isn't, about everything in the latter half, I can see why it put, some people off. But, no. At its core, this is just a lovely movie. All the acting is great, even from the children. Again, the whole it's funny thinking about the behind the scenes stuff when it comes to our two main leads and how they interact for a good, nearly half of the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was good. And even despite how whimsical it is for most of it, it still manages to be genuinely tense when it's required. It's good. All right.
So Jova, as a musician, what's your thoughts on The Sound of Music?
It's a very good musical. I'm not quite sure if it's the best I've seen. I've seen a lot of musicals, but it definitely is a keeper, all right. The music is good, the acting is good, the lyrics are good. Everything about this is, so good. So good. And, it manages to balance out its plot structure well in regards to this movie here and there. So, yeah, kudos.
All right.
I mean, okay, it does have some elephants in the room here and there in regards to how it portrays certain things here and there. Sadly, a bit of a staple of Rogers and Hammerstein, but you know what? The musical is not dragged down by it per se. In spite of that, this movie works, as does the Broadway show itself, and hey, there have been some adaptations to actually, try and freshen it up every now and then, so it's not all bad. Like I said, though, this is definitely a massively wonderful musical, and one that definitely deserves the high praise it gets.
All right. Too.
Sure. Honestly, it's fine. Like I said, the music makes sense. The pace is fine. This is actually my first time seeing in full in English, because I'm mostly used to the Italian version, which is also sadly the reason why this movie is in itself it might not really for me, and it just at least on a casual level, because this was my sister's favorite, one of my sister's favorite pick as a movie to choose when we were little, and as you can imagine, this kinda had the opposite effect of what Freud and Maria does in terms of teaching songs. If you do too much of a good thing, you'll end up annoying. And to be fair, so years have passed, so I did mellow out, and besides, it wasn't just me watching it alone. It was just also for potential riffing material. So it's not like it was, bad to see it again. It's just that, simply put, it's not the kind of movie that is for me. Simply put, I don't really hate it or don't want people to see it. Just that it's not for me. But for what it is, it actually is fine, despite the elephant in the room, like Jova mentioned. Tied to Rogers and Amazon. That's pretty much it. I can say that the music worked mostly better in English, aside from the scale one, the one that you had the Jova also use, because due to how the syllables are structured, the things associated with each musical note do make a bit more sense when for the lyrics translated for my country's version, but it's literally an example, honestly. Most of the other songs seem to be more fine with the English voice acting. And yeah, speaking of that, props also for the child actors, that they actually are not annoying, not bored, they seem to be on point and in structure even for singing, so there is praise to be done. Same also goes for the directing. Like I mentioned, there are some of those particular shots they were very nice in how we constructed. Even the final one, basically predates the whole helicopter shot walking on a mountain scene the Lord of the Rings would popularize. In a way, you can say that either this movie was ahead of its time, or Peter Jackson wanted to reference that due to being a massive nerd as well. So yeah, honestly, it's pretty nice, but that's it for me. Next.
All right. But for me, it's like again, to me, this is an all-time classic for all the reasons, because the songwriting in the reason I hold this still to this point as my favorite musical is purely because the soul of a musical is its songwriting, and the songwriting on this is on a whole another level. Regardless, their elephant in the room romanticization aside, the raw godlike talent of Oscar Hammerstein and Richard Rogers cannot be denied. It's just it really is every art form has its ultimate master, the one or at least one of a select group of ultimate masters, the ones that we dictate as the best of the best in that field. And Rogers and Hammerstein are definitely, if not the best, definitely top 5 at least when it comes to creating musicals. Their songwriting is beyond genius. The lyrics are unbelievably smart. Like I said, in Do Re Mi in particular, no matter how many times I hear it, still blows me away how fucking ingenious the lyrics are. It really is. No one no other music songwriters can even compare nowadays to the people doing these musicals back in the golden age of Broadway. It really was a whole new level, a whole higher level of songwriting. It really, and yeah, the songs completely carry the movie. The brilliant performances, especially from Julie Andrews, who was again practically perfect in every way. And yeah, and like I said, and I really appreciate the fact that romanticization aside, the movie does not shy away from also tackling a serious subject that is in there. And like I said, it's also very appreciative for me for the fact that this movie was one of the big tools of escapism back in the 60s for my country during the dictatorship. So it's a movie that I'm personally very grateful for its existence just because of that alone. And there's a good reason for it. Like, in fact, this is actually the main reason why my mother loves this movie so much, because she was still back when this movie came out, and she was still young. The dictatorship was still going on, so of course this was also a tool for her. So this is something that I'm very personally thankful for it because of how good it did. Of course, that wasn't necessarily the intention when Rogers and Hammerstein wrote this, but it still works as well, so I'm thankful for it anyway. So yeah, I absolutely am thankful and very loving of this movie. So thank you, Rogers and Hammerstein, for this gift, and yeah, thank you for the brilliant movie with the brilliant actors that you've given. And that was it. That was The Sound of Music, everybody. Well, I guess as for whatever next musical we do, I guess we'll do Mary Poppins Returns, since that elephant has been brought up during this commentary. Why not?
About time we got to it.
Yeah, well, Jova, I can tell you that the songwriting in that musical will not in any way give this movie a run for its money. I can tell you that. But whatever. Let's see you for that, everybody.
Yeah.
See ya.